Hello and welcome to RLH GT3 Season 2, Round 1. We're in Italy today and we'll be racing around Aerodrome Lago Maggiore. It's a new season starting after last season's winner RLH Fretti 52 took the championship a few weeks back. This track is made up of 17 corners and it's 3.6 miles long. The most exciting corner on the track is a big downhill run up to a right-hander. So if we watch the stream at the moment, we'll see everyone going out for the time being on a fuel burn session. They'll be doing runs to lower their fuel. Everyone starts on a fuel tank of fuel at the beginning. They'll probably pit in for softer tyres halfway through the session to make sure that they get the fastest laps in. On commentary tonight we've got myself, Timmy the Turtle, and also Nika, and we'll be bringing you hopefully a good first round of the championship. So at the moment we're on the out laps, so we'll be looking for roundabouts when they're on flying laps. 153 would be a good lap. Maybe the further back teams doing possibly up to 2 minutes, but we'll have to wait and see which cars everyone's picked, and also what fuel loads they're on as they run down. So at the moment we should be on 100%. So just a little bit about RLH. If you haven't watched before, Racing League Hub has multiple leagues on GT Sport and F1. On a Tuesday and Wednesday we do F1, F3, and on a Wednesday we do F2 and F4, which is all standard Formula 1 cars. And on a Sunday we do Super Formula, which is the Japanese version of F1. And also we have the GT Sport. We have F4, which is starting next week I believe on a Monday, and tonight, as you see, we have the F3 cars. So we have a certain amount of teams in F3 presently, so if we just quickly run through who we've got the Guana Racing team, which consists of last year's winner Fretti, who's running the #1 car, which is good to see because we've not had that in Super Formula in a GT3 as of yet. The Guana car is green and red with a white top, and you should see on top when he's driving around the #1 on the top of the car, which is quite nice to see. We also have Max Racing, who finished first in the Constructors' Championship last year. They're in the BMWs. You'll see them riding around in a sort of black and red car, which is quite a distinct. I think Nika's back.
I am. There was a... Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. There was a massive hydraulic leak in the pit lane, which some of the teams are now fixing. So, yeah, sorry for the delay. We are riding on board with the Dynamic Racing at the moment. Yes, Timmy, you were presenting the teams, I think.
I was. So we have Guana Racing, which I was just saying is Fretti, who's last year's winner. He's accompanied by Wesley, who's running a Porsche, I believe. Fretti's in the Lexus. We've got Highlight Racing, which is Philip Ducat and it's Billy. They're both running in the Audi. Sidemax Motorworks, which is Dynamic Racing, and Baboon J. They're, as far as I can see, running Audis as well, I believe.
I think they're running in the M6 Dynamic Racing. And yes, So Slick. I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly, but yes, they're in the BMWs. They seem to be running the opposite numbers, 89 and 98. And
Yes.
we have a new team on the grid. Well, most of the teams are new, but last team we will mention is KD Racing? No?
KD Roll Center Racing,
Roll Center
which
Racing,
is
that's
Phil,
it.
yeah, and SMJT
Yes. So that's how you
racing
pronounce
that.
the name.
We also have Audi Firestone Racing, which is Alex racing in that, but I'm not sure he's here tonight.
Alex
Yeah,
McMine
he's
80?
yes,
He is here tonight. He's currently
he
9th, I
is.
think.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he's also running in the Audi as well. He's the Audi Firestone Racing team,
Oh,
which is in the white and red car.
with a Martini logo on the side, I see.
Yeah.
Interesting livery there. And so, this is one of those tracks with don't see very often. I guess it has some features. The downhill section is interesting.
It is, yes, running into the right-hand hairpin.
Yep.
You have a lot of camber as well, which helps with the braking and the acceleration coming out of the corner. Should be coming up to that fairly shortly on a lap. I'm just going through to see who's heading towards that right now.
We're on board with Dynamic Racing and Fretty at the moment. I think they're getting right about to that part of the track. Is we could check if we have the option to change the camera angle. That could be cool. Can't remember the buttons anymore. Should go on board with Fretty. He's just closing in so we can see both of the cars.
He's just heading down the hill now.
Yep.
So at this point you're braking very late and round about the 50-meter board, bringing it in, and then acceleration straight out once you've hit the apex.
And
Which
after
brings
that,
you uphill now.
get into the
left-hander.
Yep. And then there is what I would call the stadium section. It's probably not the name. Dynamic Racing, then coming into that part of the track where you can go fairly quickly, starting from here, clipping curb right there, on, and then into a swooping left-hander onto the finish straight. Dynamic Racing goes and sets a 1:55.460. We don't know if it's a good time at the moment, but he is quickest of them all.
I'd expect
Point
once the
in
fuel
time.
burn that to lower down to the 152s maybe, I think would be a good time around here.
Yep.
I did a little bit of research before and had a little bit of look on YouTube, and that seemed to be a good time in a GT3 car, so I'd hope we can possibly push towards that. So at the moment we're probably still running at around about 3/4 to coming up to half a tank of fuel.
Yep. Right
So,
about that. Yeah.
if we wait another couple of laps, hopefully we should be knocking at least a couple of seconds off the time.
Yeah.
So dynamics looking quite smooth presently.
This season then we have changed some of the fuel consumption and tire consumption settings. So I think we've gone for a more tire where setup, so it could mean that strategies come into play when it comes to changing tires. Then again, take a look at Wesley then and give Wesley in the Porsche. Another thing that's interesting is that I don't know if it has any effect, but it seems Racing and Sidemax Motorworks team, Pretty, KD Roll Center Racing, and yeah, those are the so half of the grid are running turbocharged cars, and they are naturally aspirated. So as we're up in the mountains, the turbo cars should have a benefit over there being more dense up here. I highly doubt that has any effect in the game, but in reality that's a fun fact. Turbo is everything. We are on board Smjet 189 then in the KD Roll Center Racing ladies AMG GT3. Sure that's the name of the car, but it could be.
I just seen Wesley's just popped in a 154.8 to take him up to first place.
We have 9
so the
minutes.
Fuel's starting to burn down now.
Yep. 9 minutes remaining
They'll all
of the
be
session.
in for a pit stop, I reckon, around about with 5 minutes to go, and then should start putting faster times in. I'm not sure the tyres they're on at present. I know SMJT's on the racing softs.
Yep. Phil is on the super soft. He has just pitted for those tires, so it should be from Phil.
Same as Philip is on the super soft as well, just pitted.
Yep. Currently
Alex,
on the
same.
screen.
The only people that haven't pitted so far are SMJT, Dynamic Racing, who is currently in the pits changing now, so he'll probably come out on the super softs, and Wesley, who's still running on the softs. So I imagine Wesley will be coming in shortly for a set of super softs.
And it's Billy, currently in what position he is in. 10th? He's 9th. It says it right there on the top left corner of the screen.
In the Audi with his teammate Philip.
Yep.
Both running exactly the same car.
Dynamic Racing then has pitted for a super soft tire, and he's on about half a tank of fuel. Wesley has a little bit less fuel, and he's pitting, so stop might not be the most part of this qualifying session, so let's...
Yeah, this will be the time where they're all going in now to change onto super softs and try and put the laps in that we can get. One interesting thing this year for GT3 is last year every team was, or every racer was an individual team with a single car each, where this year, say, we've set now where we have teams. So it's across the GT Sports leagues that we have, both in the GT3, GT4 and the Super Formula. You should notice that you'll have some of the reoccurring teams, such as Guana Racing, entering into all of the KD Roll Center, entering into the leagues together with different drivers racing across the formulas. You might see a few racers such as Fretti appear in some of the other formulas as well, but there are some other drivers that you can check out on alternative nights in the other leagues, but you should be familiar with the cars and the manufacturers, etc.
And if you feel like joining some of the race action and racing hub, make sure to check out our website, racingleaguehub.com. We have drivers from all different backgrounds, and if you are a beginner or a seasoned race driver, look us up and we'll find you a seat in one of the leagues. And yeah, you should definitely check this site out and maybe join our Discord.
So presently I'm just watching, it's Billy coming around at the moment, still in 9th place. I'm not sure who you've got on your stream, but the pace is looking good across the board from every driver presently. It's closer than I was expecting. For the front, we have Alex in the pits. He's switching to super softs currently. Just waiting for him to go back out. I think he's having just a check of everything, but everyone else is currently on track. predictions for tonight, I think out of consistency from last season, we have to be looking at Fretty for being up there. SMJT, who joined late in the season last year, has quite a lot of pace. He might be another one to watch out for. And then we have a few new drivers who I'm not 100% sure they're fast in other leagues, in the F1 leagues, but GT Sport is a completely different style of racing, so we'll have to have a look to see if they can transform their pace from one platform to another. But presently, looking at new drivers, it's Billy is sitting in 9th place, and who else is new tonight within the race? Philip, who raced last year in a couple of cars. He did start off in a Lamborghini and then switched later in the season to another car. He's not raced all the way through, but he's not quite a newcomer, but could do something different, but currently he's running in 8th. Slow SLYK to get slightly closer, but we've only got 3 minutes 22, so with a 2-minute lap, if he wants to get out, he's going to have to get out fairly soon. But we should start seeing some quick laps now coming up. This will be the lowest fuel they have and the freshest tyres.
Except for Philip at the moment, who has a full tank of fuel. I don't know what the idea is there, but he is currently 8th. Some of the drivers are in the pits. Drivers who are showing are going to show us the quickest lap times at the moment should be on track, as we have 2 minutes left. It'll be interesting to see what the top 5 is going to look like. I heard my mic is cutting out, so let me know if there's further problems with that. I'm having to try to find a position for it that doesn't make the stream sound like me breathing into the microphone. It's a detail you don't need to know, but now I have shared it with you. Dynamic racing then 0.843 seconds of the top time set by Wesley. He's on a flyer at the moment, going into the first couple of corners. The BMW M6, the 4.4 liter V8 powered turbocharged car from Germany. It is a big car. That's as much as I like BMWs. I know very little about this particular one. It's a huge car. I can tell you that for free, as Spag usually says. Spag and Chips then will be commentating some of the races. He is commentating F2. Currently occupied with, well, pool parties, etc. I've heard. Pretty then looking to improve on his time. Phil on a lap at the moment in the Mercedes. KW Roll Center Racing, one of the new teams in this league, setting up the car. Onto the uphill section we go. Green is the color. If you wish to know other obvious things, I am your go-to guy. I think we have a couple of people in the pits at the moment. So we will check the timing screen. Like it's Billy is in the pits. Dynamic racing then about to cross the finish line. He did not improve on that particular lap, but he still does have 1 lap to go, I think. At the moment the top time is set by Wesley, who is Gonna start on pole by the looks of things. We have 2 minutes remaining and 15 seconds of this session. His time is a 1:54.395. Is followed by SimJT 189 on a 1:54.924. Dynamic Racing then pushing the BMW to its limits. It is the final lap of the qualifying. We will be on board with him for a while. He is on the Racing Super Soft. That doesn't mean he will start on the tire, but it means he's on the quickest tire going through into the third sector. That's actually the second sector. He's improving on his time at the moment. By the looks of things, he would be 0.2 seconds off Wesley's pace. He clips the inside of that corner, powering out onto the back straight, and he will cross the line for the third sector with a purple second sector. He is currently catching up to the top runners, just about to go into the last corner after this uphill section. Taking the left-hander, clipping the curb out wide on the power, and then crossing the line with a 1:54.7, and that's your pole at this very moment. SamJT then looking to improve, and he does improve. Stays third. Fretty has run out of fuel. Phil has got some engine damage. Alex Beckmine 80 is out of fuel. So Slick, I'm not sure where he is. Philip is in the pits, and your qualifying session over. Now if you're watching the stream and currently sitting in a car, sure you not leave session. Starts, the qualifying has ended, and your qualifying results are not on the screen anymore.
Not on the screen anymore.
Dynamic Racing then taking pole. Second place man is Wesley, third place man is SMJT, fourth place is Fretty, fifth place is Phil McConaughey, Alex Beckmine in sixth, Philip in seventh, and eighth it's Billy.
We seem to have lost a driver as well somewhere in here.
Yeah, so Slick is not
on the grid right now.
And as the lights go out, we see SMJT fending off Wesley there into the first corner. As we have a massive crash from Phil. We'll take out other drivers, I don't know, because I'm in the complete wrong camera setting. Dynamic Racing then having a... I'm not sure what's going on.
He seems to have stopped on the track right now.
People are leaving the lobby, so I'm sure we are watching the wrong stream.
There's only...
should probably be checking the Discord at this moment. Chat says...
Only Alex left in the stream at present, so I think we've lost everybody presently.
We're gonna go to the lobby.
Now.
Race has been cancelled. I'm sure there was something wrong. They will probably set up the lobby again. Have all the drivers on the once more. Timmy, do you have any predictions of?
I think, to be honest, I'm still looking at RLH Fretty for the win in this. I think he's too consistent not to. SMJ TSA's got a lot of pace. He came in late last season, so we'll have to have a look at that. But I can't really see much further past Fretty. He was so consistent last season in every race that he should be there or thereabouts.
I am at the moment not 100% sure if I should be in spectate or enter or what mode I should be in, so...
No, neither am I. I'm just
should stick to spectating, yeah?
Go to spectate,
yeah.
which we can see the cars in the garage presently, except for Dynamic Racing, who somehow is on the grid. Everyone else is in the pits.
I think he can a lap before the, or he can take part in practice. So he's currently ghosting on the track. A good time to look at his livery, as everyone else is in the pits. Alex McMine says I was P6.
So what will be happening now is the lobby host will be setting the track back up as the grid was formed, as it was at the start of the race, to start again as we lost all the cars before the end of the first lap. We normally do in Racing League Hub 2 restarts if there's any issues, depending on what they are. If we lose the whole grid, we might have to change that to start again, but I say normally the rules are 2 restarts, so it should take a few minutes to get the restarts done. Until that happens, as I said earlier in the stream, we're in Italy at the moment at Lago Maggiore. It's a 3.6 mile long circuit. It has 17 corners, some of them quite interesting, as has been mentioned, especially the downhill into the hairpin, which we've seen on stream so far, which is a unique corner anywhere as far as I believe. It's not a real course. This is a GT made up course. If we were racing cars with DRS, it would have 2 DRS zones on the long straights, but obviously these cars do not have DRS because they're not F1 cars. It's a difficult course to master, to be honest. We raced here last season in GT3, which both myself and Nick raced in. To get it right, it's a lot of work, but once you do, it's very rewarding to make, especially when you're coming up the hill towards the end of the lap. There's a lot of time to be gained through some very fast flowing corners. We should be, by the looks of it, starting again now. Hopefully.
We have started the final for what is to be the final time. Cars flashing their lights on the grid. Dynamic Racing on pole, Wesley in second, SMJT in third, RLH 30 in fourth, Phil McConaughey in fifth, Alex McMine in sixth, So Slick in seventh, Philip in eighth, and I think there is a bit of battle going on with Philip and his teammate. It's never anything too serious. We have a green light. SMJT then challenging around the outside of Dynamic. We have the 2 cars going side by side into the first corner, and the Guarana cars following closely by. SMJT then leading the race at the moment, going almost side by side with Dynamic Racing, and followed closely by Freddy. Wesley then lost 2 positions in the start. Phil McConaughey in 5th at the moment, followed by Alex McMine, So Slick, and It's Billy. Currently running on board with SMJT then. Is he a favorite of this race?
He was very consistent at the end of last season. He finished in the top 3 most races, so he could be up there this time. I'd say he joined late last season, so didn't really have a chance at the championship. Freddie was quite clear at that point, and it was difficult to catch him. We also had second place at the time, who isn't racing this season. They were the 2 top by quite a long way, with I think Brumadinho, who also isn't racing this season, in third. But SMJT, he was very solid. If he could keep it clean, and looking at it presently, he's pulling away. He's nearly made a second already over Dynamic Racing.
And what we can say at this moment is that the rear view mirror of Dynamic Racing is full of green and red colors. That is mainly consisting of a Lexus at the moment, the Lexus of Ferretti, as SMJT is pulling away a little bit of a gap, forming then between the first place car, the Mercedes, and the second place car, the BMW. The BMW seems to be a lot quicker on the straights. I don't know how he does it, but somehow those... As SMJT actually takes a wide line. It leaves the door open by... he has to leave the door open then for Dynamic because he ran a bit wide. Can we see any visible damage on SMJT's car? No, we cannot.
Not that I can see.
The only damage he might have is a bit of loss of confidence there. That shouldn't be too bad. He is challenging Dynamic Racing into the corner name that is, it is a hairpin, and he does go past. That Mercedes does have some grunt and seems to be having some grip around the corners as well. Around the outside he goes, then, well, not around the outside, but he fends the route outside of that from that BMW. A little bit further behind we have Wesley in the Porsche, who is following Ferretti. Then Phil McConaughey in the number 2 Mercedes at this moment is in 5th. Slick in the other side, Max Motorworks BMW in 6th. It's Billy and it's Philly fighting for 7th position, and then Alex McMahon in 9th. Yeah. Philip then not having a look that time around, well, having a look but not making the move at that time. Like, they do have exactly the same liveries, which is cool. It is a black Audi with the driver's nationalities on the winglets.
Wing plates, yeah.
And
if this is anything like in F4 with the 2 drivers in the Formula 1 league, they're both very closely matched in that league too, so we should see quite a bit of action between the 2 of them back for the sort of 7th place.
Yep. Let's hope they keep it clean and don't mess up, since they are currently now at the moment in points. A driver who is having a bit of free air is Soslik. He has a 7-second advantage to it's Billy and Philip. Phil McConaughey then McConaughey on the medium tire chasing down Wesley. Wesley then being on the super soft tire, and the battle for the top 4 positions intensify at this very moment. They seem to be on different strategies. Wesley is on the super soft, Ferretti is on the soft, Dynamic is on the soft, and SMJT 189 is on the soft. So Wesley then going the other direction when it comes to tire strategy. We go down into the hairpin with Dynamic going around the outside. That is a brave move. He doesn't unfortunately cash in on that check. He is filling the rearview mirrors of SMJT's car with black and red BMW as we go to another corner. It is the right-hander. That BMW seems to be coming alive a little bit later than the Mercedes. We have 2 green, red and white liveried cars following closely behind Ferretti, then catching up to the fight for first position, currently in 3rd, Wesley in 4th, not too far behind. We have a massive race on our hands, and it's just the beginning of the season. Phil is at the moment in 5th, and I am not counting Phil out this time around or ever. He is a quick driver and a solid driver when it comes to consistency, using all of the track to make that Mercedes grip as much as possible. The battle for 3rd.
The front 5 really, I say the front 4 mostly, but the front 5 have pulled a huge gap back to 6th now though.
And interestingly, Dynamic Racing has less tire wear at the moment compared to Ferretti. That could be down to the car, it could be down to the driving style, and it could be down to the battle, as we see the cone flying up in the air. That shouldn't have caused any damage to the car. SMJT fending off into the downhill section again. When we speak about tires, SMJT seems to have a lot more tire than Dynamic Racing even, so it happened in Super Formula as well. On Sunday, SMJT is really good on his tires, it seems. What is not
Dynamic is going for the move now.
Yeah. And he has passed the Mercedes, but the Mercedes is not out of it. He takes a wider line, carries a little bit more speed, and might be able to... That straight was long enough, so... Just pulled away a little bit.
At the moment now, it looks like the front three are starting to make a gap now.
Yep. Actually, it's not too far behind, but that might be suffering from altitude sickness. But SMJT then has dropped back a little bit. Somehow his tire has worn a little bit more.
It looks like it, yeah.
And Fretty has used a little bit more fuel than SMJT, and the Dynamic has used even more fuel. So we have some variation between the tire wear and the fuel consumption at this moment, as we do see that there are a couple of groupings forming on the track. We have the battle for the lead, consisting of 4 cars with Phil closely behind. It's Billy and Soslik 6th and 7th. There's a massive gap between them, but Philip has pitted.
Phillips has pitted, he's got full fuel and fresh
as
tyres.
Has Alex. So the battle is really
strategies now.
Really a 4-way battle then.
For the front, I'd say it definitely is Dynamic Racing, SMJT, and the 2 teammates of Fretty and Wesley close behind. Phil now he's dropped back slightly by about 6 seconds. I mean, he's still in it. He's got a 33-second advantage over 6th place. So the front 5 have really pulled away over the first 5 laps. To be honest, that's quite an advantage over the rest of the field. Just looking now, Fretty seems to be slightly falling away. He was 1 second, which is now 1.5 seconds from SMJT, and SMJT has fallen back from Dynamic Racing. I'm not sure if this is fuel and tyres coming into play presently, but yeah, there's gaps starting to form. I mean, Fretty's now 1.7 seconds, so I'm not sure if they're conserving fuel, changing the mapping to try and extend this stint and make sure that they don't have to pit too many times, or if the tyre wear has just come into play and they're slowing down. Although there's not a lot in the tyres, to be perfectly honest. At this stage, the worst off the tyres is Fretty presently, who is coming to halfway through the Racing Soft's life. So one interesting thing to see is out of the top 4, the first 3 are currently running Racing Softs, where Wesley is on the Super Soft, and I would have expected that to have degraded faster than the Softs, but presently he's got about the same tyre wear as the front 2, which is good going. To keep those tyres that healthy after the amount of laps. I would expect them to have died a lot, to be honest.
So would I. Yeah, and another interesting thing is the button that used to be changing, used to change the camera angle, is now suddenly not that button anymore. So, sure, if you know what button to push to change the camera angle, please comment on the stream. I know there is.
Just looking now, we've got Fretty and Wesley in the pits, so both cars on the same strategies. Yeah, Fretty's just left with Wesley coming out now, so they've gone on both to the racing soft again. Well, Wesley's moved on to the racing soft, he wasn't the super soft. But Fretty does not look like Fretty has fully fueled. He looks like he's only got just over half a tank of fuel, and Wesley 3/4 a tank. So
yep, fuel depletion is not as aggressive. Yeah. Sorry. So the fuel depletion is not as aggressive this season, so might bring in some strategy calls. Then another thing is, will Fretty and Wesley be able to undercut the KD Roll Center racing car of SMJT? He hasn't pitted yet, but he might not have to either.
No, he's on half a tank of fuel with not even half use of his racing softs. Dynamic, just under half fuel and not half use of his tyres, so they could stay out another maybe 3 laps before pitting. It really depends on who's now pumping in the times. I'd expect Fretty and Wesley to be putting in the lap times now on the fresh tyres. Just looking at the times at the moment. So Dynamic Racing's last lap was a 1:57. Phil was a 2-minute dead. Fretty a 1:54. SMJT 2-minute 14, which is a very slow lap, with Wesley at a 1:55. So the fresh tyres are a lot quicker than the guys currently on track. They're taking, well, off the leader they're taking 3 seconds. Phil's losing 6 seconds a lap, and SMJT, we'll have to see what this lap is. The last one must have been
well, he just exited the pit, so Fretty did undercut him. That was just happened, and Phil then is being harassed by Fretty. Phil has a lot of tire left though, and some fuel, so I'm not sure. But the Guaraná and KD Roll Center Racing battle is officially on. The Fretty as well as SMJD have overtaken the car of Phil, who hasn't pit yet. He will pit this lap, I'm very sure of that. We have a car in the box.
Nearly lost it there. Ooh. He's just lost the back end coming out of the corner, and he's lost 2 places.
And that Mercedes will be as wide as possible going into the third sector of.
Fretty's.
He is past.
Fretty's got Phil back.
And can Wesley make the overtake before the pit lane, or will he be held back a little bit? Maybe there. SMJT then, having made up 1.3 seconds, has lost 0.2 in that corner. That is a mean looking car though, the Mercedes. It's absolutely beautiful. As he is being hunted down by Fretty and Wesley, who have gotten past Phil. Phil then not pitting at this moment. What do we know about his strategy? Well, he's on the medium tire, so ultimately he could go a little bit further. That tire doesn't look too bad.
He is. The thing with him is his lap times are over the 2 minutes now, where you're looking at Wesley, Fretty and SMJT are all doing mid-55s, so he's going to be even if he only does one pit stop, still losing 5 seconds a lap could cause a lot of issue, to be honest.
Dynamic Racing then has a 18-second gap to SMJT. Do we know how long the pit stop is?
It's variable depending on if there's any damage or how much fuel he wants to place in. If he doesn't refuel, he'll be out probably within that time, but he's going to need more fuel. So I'd say he's likely, with the 18 seconds over SMJT, he'll probably drop in round about 4th or 5th, depending on the gaps, although the gaps are very, very close. I mean, there's 2.4 between SMJT and Fretty. Fretty and Wesley have half a second between them, which is close, so I think he's going to end up in 5th once he pits from the gap. I say it's all fuel dependent on how much he wants to put in though, and if he's going to be pitting again afterwards.
I do happen to have realized what the name of the game is, and I will reveal it now. You should be on the correct tire at all times.
Yes.
The gap then between Dynamic Racing and Fretty seems to be 19.8, 19.7 seconds, going down all the time. Fretty is on a soft compound tire. Might be running a bit more aggressive of a setup than the others because his front tire seems to be running out, or maybe the Lexus is just a front heavy car. I'm not sure that matters. He is then losing a bit of time to SMJT, but so is Dynamic currently. The last lap was a 2:03, is it?
I'm just checking now. Dynamics last lap was a lap 9, which was a 1:57.8.
Oh yeah, of course.
SMJT 1:55. Fretty a 1:56, which is quick. I think that might be 1:56.1, the fastest lap of the race. It is, because it's blue.
Yeah.
So currently Fretty holds the fastest lap.
Oh no, his SMJT is purple. 1:55.4.
Oh, he is, yeah, 1:55.4. Sorry. Oh, that's their fastest lap.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the way. Yeah, it's personal.
Wesley's last lap, who's closing on Fretty, was a 1:55.9. There's only half a second between them, and I say there's becoming a large gap now between Wesley and Phil. Phil's 31 seconds down, but on a full tank of fuel and fresh tyres, so he must have just pitted.
I wonder what the dealio is. Fretty has now 1/4 of a tank of fuel.
He does. Oh, Dynamics in the pits.
Dynamic, and he has dropped currently to 4th.
P4, which I thought that's where he'll come out.
He has a full tank of fuel, and he's on another set of the soft tire. Should be looking at Phil then. He has pitted, he's on another set of medium and almost a full tank of fuel. We have 19 minutes left and 30 seconds in a bit. Half of the race has, the halfway point has passed. Now we have It's Billy catching It's Philly, and So Slick then in 9th. Has had a bit of a touch with the wall, nothing too major, then no damage. He's on a super soft compound of the tire, currently 56 seconds behind Alex. Alex is on a medium set on a half a tank of fuel, the Audi. Phil then, we should be looking at his times. His last lap time was a 1:58. Can he get that time down? Will it be beneficial to pit once or to pit twice? Dynamic Racing then has a 6-second gap to Wesley. Wesley is leading his teammate, losing to his teammate a little bit then, yes, sorry.
I'm just trying to keep an eye now on Dynamic's time now he's on a fresh set of tyres, because the first few laps that the front three had once they pitted were quite a lot quicker than anyone else once they came out of the pit. So it'd be interesting to see if Dynamic's making up any time on them. He's just put in a 1:53.7 coming out of the pits, so obviously that's slightly shorter with the pit lane in there, but not a huge amount. You'd probably only add a second onto that, maybe a second and a half, so the pace is relatively good. The others are all running SMJT 1:56, Fretty 1:57, so he's got a slight possible advantage in pace.
We see then
he's
Wesley
made up 2 seconds.
Wesley challenging Fretty. That the front of that Lexus looks really low compared to the. Well, no, I'm talking rubbish. Wesley then looking around the Lexus of Fretty far away through. We are going into the downhill section now. It'll be. Oop, as my button got jammed, that's horrible. Wesley then has more fuel and less tire wear than Fretty. Fretty's not giving him the position. Why would he? It's the first race of the season. SMJT then has a healthy 8.7 second gap to Fretty. Wesley, who are currently battling each other, losing out time to the KD Roll Center driver.
I'm just looking now, he's taken, in the first 2 sectors of this lap, Dynamic Racing has taken 2 seconds out of Wesley and Fretty.
So
it's just gone purple on a 1:54.7. So he's literally flying at the moment.
Yep.
The fresh tyres.
He's caught up to Fretty at the moment. Now, if you were a team manager, what would you say about something like what we are experiencing with Wesley and Fretty battling each other on track? Is that something you would want to see, or what do you think?
I think at the start of the season it's allowed. I think you might be finding there's team orders now coming in though, because Wesley's got a faster car than Fretty, and Fretty looked like he was trying to hold up Dynamic Racing there. Fretty's going to have to pit because he's only got half a lap's worth of fuel left. So at the end of this lap, Fretty's in the pits.
It seems to be the case. Yeah.
Wesley also, he's down to nearly no fuel, so he'll be in the pits soon as well. As we've only got 15 minutes left, I'd be expecting this possibly, depending on the fuel mapping, to be the last pit stops they'll make. I imagine Dynamic has already used a quarter of a tank, so he's likely to need to pit again with the pace he's going. That could work out for Fretty and Wesley if they time this right, with I'd say 10 minutes to go, and the hard tyres could possibly make it to the end, but it might not be the fastest strategy to do. It's going to be interesting though. I say SMJT nearly out of fuel as well. He's only 10 seconds clear with his battle, so he's going to drop back as well, where say Dynamic is looking good. Wesley is in the pits, so is Fretty, both in the same time.
And
okay,
I bet it's the soft tire, because there is a third left of this, and well, maybe I'm not sure, we will see in a bit, as the soft tire has gone on. Is that a sign of it? We are on board with Dynamic Racing, who is currently losing out time to SMJT, who is keeping his foot down. The gap is now 10 seconds. SMJT is gonna pit, so he will be 10 seconds behind. He will come out in third, I think. But Wesley is catching up.
Looking at Wesley and Fretty, who just pitted, they've only pitted for 3/4 of a tank of fuel. So I'm imagining they're expecting that to last 13 minutes, which means with Dynamic Racing, who also has, well, just under 3/4 of a tank, would put him in the driving seat. I think the racing softs should last the next 13 minutes, and if both Fretty and Wesley believe that only filling 3/4 of a tank will get them to the end, then I'm imagining Dynamics timed that pit stop, which he made perfectly for the amount of time that's left.
Yeah. We don't know the difference in time between a slightly used tire and a fresh tire, but we do know.
So far, the fresh
will
tires
be
look
pushing
good.
it.
I'd expect either Wesley or Fretty to start going purple after this out lap.
Hilden in 5th at the moment, far behind, ready to challenge for a gap to Dynamic. It's looking like he should be in the thick of it when currently in the pits. Just come out right, it's Billy, and in front of Wesley, it's Billy is then a lapped car. Doesn't cause any fuss.
I'm just looking further down the grid on from the front 3 or 4. Phil, fuel-wise, I imagine is going to have to pit again. It's Billy will have to pit again. Philip's currently in the pits. He would have had to. He's got engine damage as well, which is going to take up more time in the pits. Alex has got front damage, but he has enough fuel to take him to the end and tyres. It depends how bad the damage is. So Slick has got plenty of tyre, but only half a tank of fuel. He might make it to the end, but it's going to be touch and go. Although SMJT in seconds only got half a tank, so maybe that's the right call.
The gap then was 10 seconds before SMJT pitted. It's currently 13 seconds. Dynamic and SMJT is cutting it close. I don't think Dynamic is gonna pit anymore. It has a 1/4 of the time left on the race, and he has got over half tank of fuel.
No, I think that's
13-second gap is an buffer to be in a lower fuel mode. I'm not sure.
He's still pumping in on 155s as well, so I imagine he's still in a high-ish fuel mode, but he's got enough gap to lower it. Plenty.
Wesley then
same as SMJT.
Wesley then is on the ragged edge with that car. He is pushing very hard. We saw the car being unsettled there. He sets in the quickest lap time race today. Followed then 4 seconds behind is Fretty. Gap is growing.
The interesting thing is Dynamic, who was on far more used tyres, is still pumping in the same time or faster times than Wesley and Fretty. On the last lap, Dynamic did a 155.5 on lap 15, with Wesley a 155.7 and Fretty a 155.9. So even with the used tyres, Dynamic is on a different level at the moment.
The track then is actually getting quicker, and SMJT has taken out 1.5 seconds in one lap, so I'm not sure. Wait, 1 point, what, 1 point? So he has round about 5 laps left. 1.5 is about 7.5 seconds. So
he's just gone purple through that sector. SMJT, he's really pushing at the moment. He's down to 11.5 now.
He has a lot more tire and a bit less fuel, so he should be should be really quick at it. Wesley then still has the same advantage to Fretty, around about 4 seconds. Fretty then has set his personal best lap the last time around, so it's anybody's call now. What the most difficult task is to catch Dynamic at the moment, but yeah, as Dynamic answers with the quick.
Dynamics just pumped in a 157.64. SMJT just on his personal best 155.3. So that's a 2 seconds.
The thing is, however, we have a comment. Ethan is hi Ethan. Or should I maybe say okay? The if we look at, we don't have that statistic at the moment, but the variability in lap times, variation in lap time is a bit higher with Dynamic, so he's done quicker lap times and slower lap times. As SMJT has a bit of a different style, he's constantly in the 155s, and before the pit stop he was constantly 5s. It seems to me that they have a bit of a different driving style, as the gap is now 10 seconds. It's gonna be a lot of work for SMJT then to catch Dynamic. It is not impossible, because the race isn't over yet. Wesley and Fretty having the same gap between each other. It is about 4 seconds now. A bit less fuel. Oh, sorry, Wesley has a less fuel, so that could more fuel saving for Wesley. Could go down to Phil on the medium tire, having done one stop, has even less fuel, medium tires, and a lot of clean air in front of him, pushing the car as hard as he can. It's Billy then in 6th. Not sure why the gap to Phil isn't up there.
The gap to Phil at the moment is 22.8 seconds. So quite a large gap. In fact, at the back now, all the gaps are quite large. Phil to Alex is 21 seconds, and Alex to So Slick is 10 seconds. So there's all quite big gaps at the back. SMJT is down to 9 seconds now. With 5 minutes to go though, catching a second a lap is going to be tough, although with the tyres, we're just looking now, Dynamic is at half tyre, where SMJT is pretty much nearly new. There's hardly any red at the top there, so with another couple of laps to go, there could be a slightly bigger swing, but I'm not sure it's going to be 9 seconds.
Yeah, I think the tire is too slow for that. He has too much tire and not enough time, so could have maybe tried the super soft, but it's what, 8 laps tire, I'm not sure.
Really, with the gaps, I think this is how it's probably going to end. Say 9 seconds between first and second, 13 between second and third, and 5 between third and fourth. And after that, say the 20-second gaps between everyone else. Unless there's a large mistake in the last couple of laps, I think this might be the finishing positions, to be honest. Although Dynamic has driven a race where he's been solid from start to finish. Really, he had a bit of trouble earlier on in the race with some overtakes, but since then he's just been consistently knocking in 157. So 157.6, 157.1, 157.1 for the past 3 laps, which is just solid pace all the way through. The same as SMJT, his laps have all been within half a second of each other. He's still pushing very hard, down to nearly 8 seconds now. It's 9.0, so he is catching. But I say with 3 minutes to go, a second elapsed, not going to be enough.
No, surely not, as I think somebody there, or it was a glitch, or the battle is really for then knocking the cone in the face. That Mercedes.
Fretty's lost a lot of time to Wesley. He's now 16 seconds back. I don't know if that was a mistake.
Maybe that could have been the thing I saw on camera. Maybe he had a bit of a slide or something. I don't know.
Possibly he's dropped back by quite a lot. I'm just keeping an eye. Lap, yeah, it must have been on the previous lap. He did a. Oh no, he's pitted. He's got fresh tyres.
Yeah, he is going for the quickest lap time.
He is, because I say he's now 15 seconds behind,
yep.
And his last lap was a 2:10, so he must have pitted.
Going to show what that.
Just looking at the front now, it's nearly 6 seconds with 2 minutes to go. So.
Yeah, but 2 minutes is 1 lap, so I think.
Yeah, I don't think he's not going to catch him, left, but he's done a good job.
Yeah, that tire looks dead to me. On that tire, that dynamic is on. SMJT
he's just lost half a second there. SMJT coming up against the back marker, Alex, who got slightly in the way there. So any charge he's had, he's not going to catch now. So there's 1 minute 30 left. He needs to take 7 seconds in 2 laps, or 1.5 laps.
It has been a very strong performance from SMJT tonight as well. We saw it on Sunday, and we've seen it today. It's a great drive from him. He's started in.
It's just consistency.
Yeah, it's visible from the lap times. You can see it. 156.1, 156.8, 155.3, 155.1. It's like Mr. Consistent.
It's the same as at the front as well.
Yeah.
Dynamic. I mean, slightly slower on the last lap, a bit of traffic, but 158, 157, 157, 157. It's just consistency.
Yeah.
In fact, they're all pretty consistent.
They are. I mean, Wesley has the same pattern in his times. Lap 19 was maybe a little bit of an outlier there, but it's inevitable with this tire. We haven't seen the quickest lap time yet because Freddy hasn't crossed the finish line, but it will be interesting to see what that super soft compound can do. It's purple in the second sector as expected. There is a car in the pits that is Philip. It's Philip, it's just Philip. Teammate, it's Bilip. It's then in 6th at the moment. As Freddy goes a bit wide, maximizing the top speed for that. Didn't get a penalty for that, but it's a 154.6 now, the fastest lap time. And the previous was a 154.7. He might have lost a bit there. He has crossed the finish line in 4th. Now saying it's dynamic racing, but he's dynamic racing.
If there was another couple of laps, this would have been close because
yeah, he's 3.8
exactly 3.8 behind. It's good pace to catch up there, very good pace, and solid each lap.
It's SMJT 189 then.
Yeah, so Dynamic done enough at the start to build that gap where he could afford to ease off slightly and be safe, but even still his lap times are still very impressive. The gap's 3.3, it's falling every second, but I say we're heading into the second sector now, or third sector even.
Yep.
So there's only this corner and the last left-hander to go before the straight. So we'll go around here now, follow him at the end.
It is just 2.8, 2.9 seconds.
Here he goes now down the straight for the first win of the second season, flashing his lights. Second SMJT across the line, solid race. Just waiting for Wesley now, the first Gowana Racing car with Fretti already finished in 4th. Here comes Wesley crossing the line now. Again, a solid race by him. Fretti in 4th, Billy in 5th, it's Billy in 6th. We got a close ending here between 7th and 8th, only under a second there, so Slick finishing in 7th, Philip in 8th, and Alex finishing off in 8th place.
Yep.
So that's your results for the first race of the second season of GT3. Are we going to be doing podium interviews?
Yeah, let's do it. Second.
So we'll do.
At the moment, only my I'm inviting the driver. This has been Racing League Hub. We race in a variety of different leagues. Find us on www.hub.com. Jimmy, I think you're off air. So I'm in the menus, but I am not sure, but we cannot hear you, but now game back, and that is
Hopefully I'm back.
by SMGT. Yes, you joining us. Listening, you have been invited. Right? You can hear me. And you're in the commentary interviews, please turn the sound of it. I don't want voice. Hello, who is listening to the stream? Commentary box, Wesley or S80, turn it down, please.
It's not me. It's Wesley, I think.
Nope.
You listening to the stream?
Nope.
Well,
No.
okay, let's go to the interviews. I've invited Dynamic twice. Later. That was.
I can't hear what you're saying, Nick. You're dropping in and out.
I am dropping in and out again. Am I dropping in and out right now?
No, I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. We will start with you, SMJT. How was that race for you?
Yeah, really good. Had a really good start. Tried to keep Dynamic behind me for as long as I can, but he's just got quite a bit more pace. Started to close it in towards the end, but got tangled up with some of the back markers. Unfortunately, lost out quite a bit there, but I think overall it was close and pretty happy with it.
And how about you, Wesley? It was the first race of the season. How was it? Take us through it.
Yeah, had a decent qualifying, had a bad start, dropped back to P4. Was falling better for the lead at one point. Then had the same strategy as Fretty, my teammate. Yeah, and then the second pit stop, we had just before the second pit stop, we had a little bit of a battle. Yeah.
Yeah, the
And
battle for the top 4 positions was really intense at times. We can't get the comments from Dynamic at this moment, so I think we will end the stream here. This has been Racing League Hub GT3 on GT Sport. You can find us on racingleaguehub.com. We race Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And if you're interested in a league or league racing, or you have a general interest in PlayStation or PC Formula 1, please find us on the website and join our Discord. I have been Nika, and commentating tonight with me has been Timmy the Turtle. Thank you all for tuning in, and see you next week.
Thank you.